Hello everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's MTPredictor video, I'd like to look at how the markets unfolded yesterday on the USE minis, in particular on the NQ, because it was a very good day for MTPredictor yesterday. But first we have to start with our risk disclaimer and remind you that all examples in this video should be considered as hypothetical. No trades are actually taken, they're just shown for illustration and training purposes only. Remind you there's a risk of loss in trading and investing. Put another way, all professional traders know and understand, but more importantly accept that losses can and will and do unfold. Doesn't matter what trading approach you have, there always will be losing trades. Right, let's now have a look at the NQ from yesterday. As you can see, we had some very nice trade setups here, but as usual we understand that markets are basically random half the time. That's why we don't use MTPredictor as a black box system where we take all the trade setups, perhaps in the direction of our MTP trend color. We look for when the picture's clear, in particular in relation to the larger degree position or the larger degree trend. How do we define that or determine that? Well, we go to a higher time frame chart. So from a 3 minute, we'd go out to a 15 minute. If you're trading, say, 15 minute Forex, you'd go out to an hourly. If you're, say, trading daily stocks, you go out to a weekly. So I just want to use our training mode and go back before yesterday even opened. Here we go. As you can see, there's, As you can see, there's a major pivot high back here. So what I'm going to do is right mouse click, do a decision point, and that gives you an area of potential resistance. As you can see, it's well above where the market was. So let's see what the market did yesterday if I turn training mode off. As you can see, it rallied. Just reset the scale there. It rallied early in the day, but it went right up into that resistance area that you had on the chart even before the day opened, and that's basically where it made the high of the day there before declining quite nicely. So this is what we mean when is the picture clear. In other words, is it reacting at our higher time frame support and resistance areas? Now if we come down to our 3 minute chart, we can see how this looked on the 3 minute chart, and as you can see, there's our 15 minute resistance. The market went up into it, came back down, made a second attempt at it where it made a VS sell setup. In other words, at this particular point in time, the picture was clear. The picture was clear because the market was making a sell setup at a higher time frame resistance. Our MTP trend was also grey to show you were in the process of making a reversal, so this was a good trade setup to take. If we right mouse click over the red sell bar, we do analysis. Remember, we use position sizing to keep our initial risk small and under control, and in this case less than 2% of a sample $20,000 account. As you can see, this took you into a short trade. The market went down to the first target very nicely, where a profit of approximately 5 times the initial risk was available. So that was a very nice trade indeed. The market then carried on sideways. Obviously you wouldn't be going for buy setups because you're now determining the larger trend is down, not only because of our coming off our higher time frame resistance, but also our MTP trend had turned red now. There was a VS sell setup here. This wouldn't have been a good one to take because VS setups are best when they are basically making the market's making a failure above a psychological or beyond a psychologically important high. So here the failure was only at the previous minor pivot there, so that wasn't very significant. Compare that to the VS sell here. This is where the market made a failure to follow through on a break of the previous major high. So that one would be a good one to take. This one is not so good. The market then came down and gave us a W3 or wave 3 trade setup. Again, this was a good trade to take because it was in the direction of the large degree downtrend. Also our MTP trend was red. So let's right mouse click over the red sell bar. Again, position sizing takes care of the number of contracts to trade to keep our initial risk small and under control. So when there are losses, and there always will be losses, the losses are kept small at -1R. The market declined down into our typical wave 3 WPT target with a profit of approximately 9.5 times the initial risk, or 9.5 times R was available. There was another sell setup a bit later in the day, but you probably wouldn't have bothered with that because you were getting close to the end of the day. If you had have done, let's put it on there for clarity, if you had have done, then that would have been a -1R loss. So compare that -1R loss with the plus 9R profit earlier, and also the plus 5R profit even earlier in the day, and you can see how that loss would have been kept small. So it was a very good day for the USE minis. If you're trading the ES, There was the 15-minute resistance on the ES. As you can see, that came up and nailed the high nicely. The market then came down in a nice, if I do Elliott wave intermediate, in a nice 5-wave sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with the low there right at the minimum wave 5 WPT. It then made an ABC correction up into a W3 trade setup as well. So that unfolded nicely as well, particularly with the high of the day coming in at the 15-minute resistance. But the star of the day was definitely the NQ, where we came in, made a high of the day at our high time frame resistance. We had a VS sell that basically nailed the very bar of the high of the day for a nice 5R profit, and then we had a lovely W3 or wave 3 trade setup a bit later that came in for a nice 9.5R profit as well. So a very nice day there for MT Predictor on particularly the NQ.